All right. And it says we are recording, so we'll see.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully I did all that right. You know how technology and I are. All right. So it is Wellness Wednesday. I'm so excited to have you here because we are going to be talking about the healing power of pets. And I have my friend Jan Archer here. And this is, tell everybody who this is.
This is Furley. He's my Great Dane Rescue. Foster fail, unfortunately.
Big foster,
unfortunately.
Like literally big foster fail, right?
Yes. We had him a while, and then we decided that we couldn't depart with him. So.
Yes, I've heard. I'm afraid I would end up being one of those, foster fails as well. Well, my office assistant today is actually laying over on the floor. He is taking his morning nap. I think this is nap number 2. But I'm representing right here today with my personal assistant. So this is Oliver.
Aw.
we
posted a picture.
Yeah, we posted a picture of him earlier on the page so everybody could see he's at least in the room. So anyway, so as my viewers know, on this page we are really all things health education. And so one of the things that I really like to focus on and to think about is the fact that health education is not just about typical health ed topics, right? I mean, we could talk about diabetes, we could talk about heart, we could talk about all those things. But really, it's more of what I call the social determinants of health, and that's what we call it in the industry. And so most people who know me have heard me talk about that term a lot. And one of the things that I like to think about in terms of what makes us healthy are kind of some out of the box things. And so pets are kind of one of those things that you just wouldn't necessarily go to begin with, right? But it's certainly super, super duper important for our health. And so Jan, I want you to tell us just a little bit about you. First of all, we'll get to your business in a little bit. If you want to talk a little bit about that now, that's fine. But let's talk about you for just a second. And then how do pets improve our general health? Just kind of give us an overview of what you know about that.
Sure. My name's Jan Archer, and I have been married to my husband for 27 years on the 31st of this month, so coming up.
Yay!
And, yes, and we have 2 boys. Well, men boys. One is Adam, and he's 19, or he'll be 19 on the 27th of this month. And then Alex is 16. And we live in Saginaw, and then I own the Patriot Paws. I have 5 employees that work for me, and we go to people's houses and help take care of their pets while they're either not working at home, going to an actual job and working, which is rare these days, or when they go on vacation, also a rare thing these days. Yeah. But people are really, with the pandemic, they're really going to camping trips and going to visit families. So there's still work to be done.
Yeah, well, it's what you do is really important because I know, because you're actually out of my service area, and I've had a cat sitter for years and for like 20 years. So before you even started this business, I've had my cat sitter, and he is phenomenal. And I know that he really gives me peace of mind when I have to leave town. And I've traveled a lot for my business over the last 6 or 7 years. And so it really gives me peace of mind to have somebody that I know who's going to take good care of my animal and know that I can leave and not have to worry about that. So I'm assuming that that's how your clients feel as well. But so tell us a little bit about how our pets really do improve our overall general health.
People with pets, they call in sick less often to work if they have pets. They go to the doctor less frequently, and they are more apt to get exercise, especially our dog and horse owners. They're more apt to get out and about and get exercise, which is always good for your health.
Right, absolutely. Not to mention the fact that blood pressure can be lowered, like when you pet a cat. We know this to be true that, even a dog, blood pressure can be lowered. There are just some real specific clinical benefits that we know that we can get from owning a pet. But other than just our general health, are there some specific illnesses that pets can help us address?
Definitely. Like you mentioned, there's the high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides can be lowered. All of that can be lowered with pets. There have been studies that the Mayo Clinic has done where heart attack patients have gone to the hospital, and if they have pets, if they have dogs at home or pets at home, they're 33% more likely to live throughout the next year than somebody without pets.
Wow, that's pretty significant. So that should
Yes,
tell you something about what our pets can do for us
yes, definitely.
psychologically too, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, really super important. So what are some of the ways that pets can help with the health and well-being of young children, for example? What can pets do for them?
Sure, kids can get can get a lot of responsibility. They learn how to take care of their dog or cat. They have to feed them, get up. If mom doesn't take over and do it for them, uh, they in turn get self-esteem from that. And studies have shown that uh, children that grow up in a household, particularly with cats, are more likely to not suffer from allergies and asthma.
Yeah. Yeah, and it teaches them responsibility.
Right,
It teaches them love. It teaches them nurturing. It teaches them all of those things that are really super important as we develop as human beings, right?
right.
Um, there also have been studies that have shown that um, some criminals, for
Oh,
example, have problems with empathy, right? So,
yes,
or caring. And so really owning a pet can early on can really help develop those skill sets that you really need to be a productive citizen in this world, right? So
yes,
so
yes.
that's one of the things that's really important. But again, that issue of responsibility, I think is really important. And I think again, psychologically, there are just so many things that pets can help us kind of work through. Um,
Oh, definitely.
and grieving, for example,
Hmm.
pets can. I know I've seen some stories recently where some funeral homes have adopted some dogs that live at the
Oh,
funeral
really?
home,
Yeah, that's
yeah, to
fantastic.
help folks kind of deal with their grief. So again, I just think in those growing up years, those first 5 years are really so important in terms of
Right.
development. And I think having a pet in the home during that period of time just really kind of enhances what kids are learning, and
Yes.
responsibility and just love and empathy and things like that. So what about the elderly? We have a lot
Okay.
of yeah, we have a lot of studies on how
Oh,
pets
yeah.
help the elderly.
Definitely with Alzheimer's and dementia, there have been studies that show that it lowers aggression in patients that have Alzheimer's and dementia, and you can see when people walk into these memory care facilities with therapy dogs, the difference between the older people that are just normally just down and they're out, they're depressed. When you bring in a dog, their face just lights up. I mean, it's night and day
Yeah,
when you take in a therapy animal
yeah,
into a facility like that. It's just amazing. It
yeah,
also gives elderly people a reason uh, to live. It gives them
yes,
purpose, and it helps reduce loneliness to have a dog or a cat. And it's shown to help reduce anxiety, and that uh, when you look into your cat's eyes, it releases oxytocin. So
yes.
there, there are there's clinical proof that pets make us happy and help reduce anxiety.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And as a medical social worker who used to work in long-term care, I can tell you that when those dogs came in, it wasn't just the residents who got smiles on their faces. It was those of us who work there too, because we know what those animals can bring to those situations. Many of those folks are isolated, especially now, where they can't see
Right.
their families. But even before then, there are folks that live in those facilities that are just isolated, and sometimes the animal is the only thing that would get them to interact with us as staff, because there's just something about that connection between the animal and the person that just really we see this in animal assisted therapy too, right? In therapy
Oh,
situations
definitely.
where there's an animal involved, and people just open up and just start talking about things that they just wouldn't normally talk about if that animal wasn't there. So
Right.
so those
Definitely.
are those are really important. I do remember when I was working at the Health Science Center, they used to do Paws at the library, PAWS, And so every once in a while they would bring in, especially during midterm or finals, they'd bring in the dogs to our library, our health science center library. And I remember one of the librarians told me one time that she recalled that there have been several instances where students would just come and sit and just cry in front of this dog, just petting the dog, because they're so stressed, and they just felt like that dog was giving them a release of sorts. And so, you know, again, it's not just anecdotal. I mean, there are clinical studies that prove, you know, a lot of these things that we're talking about. So we talked about cats and dogs, but what about other types of pets? Because not everybody owns a dog or a cat, right? Some people own other pets. So do they get the same benefits that we do from cats and dogs?
Oh, definitely. Caged animals and fish can be helpful for people who want less responsibility. And fish are actually known, when people watch fish in an aquarium, it gives a hypnotic effect. So it helps reduce pain. And you'll notice a lot of fish aquariums in doctors and dentist offices, and that's why. I have a client named Haley Rudolph, and I love the story because she has a pet pig named Wesley. And the city of Euless had come in and said, Haley, you can't have this pet pig. We had some complaints. Who would complain about a pig?
Right.
And, you know, well, she lives in a neighborhood, so that was the issue. And she was able to gather documents from a doctor that she was seeing, and she was able to go to the judge and get permission to keep Wesley, the pig, because he was an emotional support animal for her. She had really overcome a lot of the depression and anxiety that she had been experiencing, not only because of Wesley, but she has chickens those are the snuggliest chickens I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, they are just they're little love bugs, these chickens. So it can be any kind of animal, as long as, you know, it's something that you can form a bond with.
Right. And we also, and I followed Wesley's story for a while, and so I know how important that was to her. But horses, I mean, let's talk about horses. Horses are incredibly therapeutic for many reasons, right?
There's equine assisted therapy, which is also known as EAT, and it has shown a lot of help with handicapped children, with people that have ADHD, with people who have cerebral palsy, a lot of brain injury. Patients have gotten a lot of work. Even people that have paralysis can ride horses and benefit from that. And they enter into competitions. They go in and they enter into competitions so that they are experiencing, you know, victories. They have victories in their life, which can, and they form a really close bond with that horse that they're riding.
Right. And there are just so many great stories that are out there about horses and healing and people that have just really connected with those animals. And so I do you know if the Equine Center is still open up in the Keller Hazlitt area? I know there was one at one point, and they were actually doing therapy with kids. Do you know if that is still open?
I don't know if it's still open, but there were still horses there the last time I drove by. I have a client that lives out there. And
just such a great place, doing such great work. So in addition to helping people emotionally, are there other people with special needs that can benefit from the help and companionship of pets?
Sure. We were just talking about the kids with ADHD that can benefit from riding horses and petting dogs and stuff. There's your service animals that go and they help people with PTSD. They help people that are blind, that are deaf, both partially and fully. And there have been even people with cancer that have had dogs that have notified them that they have cancer. There are people that have problems with walking that they can get a Great Dane to help guide them, to give them steadiness on their feet. So there's all kinds of health benefits with dogs and cats and other pets.
Yeah, don't forget the cats.
Yeah, that's right.
I know you're a dog person. I'm a cat person, so we've got everybody represented on this video.
I
Right?
love all animals. I've even gotten to where I'm pretty good with snakes. I'm okay with them now. I used to be
Okay.
terrified, but
You're a
I'm
better woman
doing
than
better.
I am.
I
Well,
am doing better.
this would be a really good time to remind my viewers that one of the values of my company is that, you know, I really value this issue of animals and their healing powers. And so my charity of choice is Patriot Paws up in Rockwall, Texas. And they are really, I think, one of the preeminent agencies, nonprofit agencies, that provide service dogs to our service members who come back from fighting for us with PTSD. And they have, well, and not just PTSD, but they also have some physical ailments usually that go along with those. So it's kind of a, you know, it's kind of a package deal for them. But anyway, but that's the one thing that I really want to emphasize is that, you know, all of the profit, not all of, some of the profits from this point forward in my company are going to go towards supporting Patriot Paws. And that's because I truly believe in the healing power of these animals for these folks. You know, you can read stories about our servicemen and women who have just been debilitated by PTSD, for example, and they get this trained service dog, and all of a sudden their life has literally been saved.
Definitely.
Yeah, because now they have this companion who really is taking very good care of. They're taking good care of each other, right?
Yes.
And so really the issue is the high suicide rate in our military members who don't have access to these animals. So part of the issue is that these animals are very expensive to purchase and to train. And so my goal eventually is to be able to write a check for a dog a month through our profits. And those dogs are about $10,000 a piece. And so I have a very lofty goal, but I really believe that we can get there because I believe in this healing power of pets. And I believe that they provide so much more than we think that they can sometimes. So I just want to make mention of that, you know, Patriot Paws is still hot on the radar. I've not been able to get up there and visit with them yet, clearly because of what's been going on, but we will do that, and we're going to get that relationship established. And so that's gonna be hot on my list of things to do when all of this mess is over. So here's an interesting question. Can you tell us if there are any times when owning a pet might have a negative effect on your health?
Yeah, there's studies that show that children that are under 5 or children are not just children, but anybody with a lowered immune system, they want to be real careful around amphibians and reptiles and chickens because of the risk of salmonella.
Oh, okay.
Pregnant women can get this illness called toxoplasmosis.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. They can get this illness called.
Yeah. And it can cause birth defects. So you want to be real careful with that.
Pregnant women don't want to scoop cat litter, right? Pregnant women should not be scooping cat litter boxes, period, end of story. Just don't do it.
Right. And they shouldn't be messing with stray cats or especially kittens. They shouldn't pick up kittens. It's not the time to go out and adopt a cat.
Right.
Because of this illness. The other thing is that there are zoonotic illnesses, which means that they can be passed from person to pet or from pet to person. And so you want to be really diligent about getting your pets immunized. There's an illness called leptospirosis that causes liver and kidney failure, and it can even lead to death if it's not treated. Now, it can be easily treated by antibiotics, but a lot of times there's not any symptoms. So, but there's an immunization for it. You can get a vaccine for it for your dogs and your cats. So it's really important to make sure that you're, even with you know, you go to the vet and they'll say, well, these you have to have, and these are a good idea. Get the ones that are a good idea.
Just do it.
Because lepto is one of those that's just a good idea. It's not, you know, they don't say you have to have the lepto vaccine. But if your dog or cat gets leftovers, then they can pass it on to you, and both of you can not make it. So
Yeah.
it's really important to make sure a healthy pet is a healthy person.
Yes. Yes, and we should probably mention that those zoonotic diseases aren't they're kind of rare, but they do happen.
Right.
So they're not an everyday thing, but we do have to be aware of them. You know?
Yes.
So
Yes.
so not to frighten people, but you know that it can happen.
Yeah.
It can happen. So
It's
just be
important to
careful.
take care of your pet.
Yeah, just be a responsible pet owner, which also means spaying and neutering. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Just throw that
Yes.
in there right
Definitely.
now. So let's just say that I've got a viewer who does not own a pet, and I probably have many viewers that don't own pets. So how can they get these benefits even though they may not be a pet owner?
Oh, there are
Way
so
to
many
do
ways.
that?
Yeah, you can. My favorite way is to go volunteer at the shelter. You can pet dogs and cats, and you can. There's a lot of times they'll even have like ferrets or cool animals like that. It's not all just dogs and cats. Hamsters, gerbils end up at the shelter. So volunteer at the shelter. That's the best way. Go help a pregnant lady clean her kitty litter. You know, if you know somebody that's pregnant, you know that they shouldn't be scooping cat litter. So go and help a pregnant lady. Any friends that you have that might like you to walk their dogs, or an elderly person that can't get out and walk their dog, they might like you to help them with that. And there's usually a lot of pet-friendly events that you can go to, pet events. I know that there's adoptions that you can go to. Even if you don't adopt a dog, you can go and you can pet them or pet the cat. So you can definitely get involved with pets even if you don't have one. And you can always foster one if you don't want the
Yes.
long-term commitment. You can even do vacation fostering where you foster them just while the normal foster parent is on vacation.
Which is very helpful to the foster parent.
Right.
Which is very helpful. So one of the, I don't know if you've ever watched The Dog Whisperer on Nat Geo, and I don't think that Cesar Millan has a show on anymore, but they kind of run it in syndication sometimes. But many of the things that he discusses with his clients are really not about the dog, it's about the person, if you've ever watched that show. Yeah. And really it is about the psychological health of the owner, right, and how that's transferred to the dog. And so if you guys have never watched that, you should watch that show. You can probably catch some on YouTube or whatever. But the thing that always struck me, and I'm not a dog person, I have nothing against them, I've just always been a cat person, but the thing that always struck me about that show was the health benefits that would always come from him saying, you need to walk this dog because it's got too much energy, which is why it's acting the fool, right? So,
right.
So as you follow these cases over this hour, granted it's over several, weeks and possibly months, a period of time, most likely those folks who weren't walking their dog before would come back and tell Cesar, I've lost 30 pounds or 20 pounds or 50 pounds because I started walking my dog, and you know what? I really enjoy it. And when you start doing that, there's so many other health implications for you. It's not just physical. I mean, yesterday I finally had to get back out on the Trinity Trails and do my walk because I had missed it. I didn't care how hot it was. Now I did care by the time I got done because it was hot yesterday. But there are a lot of things that happen during that walk. Those endorphins start popping and you start feeling good. And actually I end up solving problems out there that I try not to think when I'm out there, but it just kind of happens. I'm trying to relax, but you end up solving problems. So there's so many things that really can be of benefit to you just walking your dog. And so for those of you who own dogs, let me just really encourage you to do that. If you've got a backyard, I get it. It's so much easier to just let them out and go do their business and whatever and let them run around. But there's a connection that you have with that animal and with nature and with your brain, right? When you take those walks. And so whenever you can do that, I would highly recommend that you do it. If I could walk Oliver, I would. He is having none of that.
There are harnesses for cats.
I know, but I'm just afraid because because he's Oliver, right? So I don't want him to take off and me not be able to. I'd never catch him. So there are just things like that it seems kind of intuitive, but really when you think about the depth of what these pets can do for us, it just blows my mind how good God was to create pets for us, right? And to help us kind of deal with life, you know, through these creatures that he created. So it's just so, see, he's so cute.
He is.
So
He's
cute.
going and scratching on the door. He wants to go out.
I'm sure he does. Well, listen, last question. How can my viewers inquire about your services and find you?
Oh, sure. We have the Sitter of Paws. It's sitterofpaws.com, or you can go to the Facebook page, which is Sitter of Paws. You can call me 817-350-5345, and you can email me too. So
Okay. Awesome.
And everything's Sitter of Paws.
Well, do
The
me a favor.
website's probably the best place to go first, though.
Okay, great. So I tell you what, I'm going to post all this in the comments below. So tell me that number again, and I will post that. Tell me that phone number again, and I'll post it for him. 817?
Sure. 350-5345.
Okay, I will post that for everybody, and and what's the email that they can reach you at? I'll post the website too, but what's the email?
It's sitterofpaws@att.net.
Sitter of Paws with a Z.
Yes, ma'am.
At att.net. All right, I'm going to be sure and do that for you. Well, Jan, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. And Furley, thank you so much. So cute. And Oliver is also, he is just crashed out. He does not even care what's going on in here right now. But anyway, on his behalf, I also say thank you. And thanks for participating in Wellness Wednesday. We really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. And don't forget that any viewers that have logged on, if I could get their email address, I have a gift card from Tailwagon Biscuits and Bones.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. Yes,
so we're going to do a drawing. We need to do
there's a door prize. How could I forget? Oh, my word.
I don't know. I just now remembered myself.
I know. I'm all about the fun prizes. So, yeah. So if you are watching and you haven't liked and or commented on here, please do that so we can get your name in that drawing. And Jan's got a really fun gift for you. I totally forgot about that. So thank you for reminding me.
Yes. That's gonna be fun.
All right, everybody. Listen, everybody go have a great rest of your Wellness Wednesday and a great rest of the week. And Jan, you guys take care, okay? Stay safe.
Okay, you too.
All right, see you later. Bye.
Bye.